Dustin, when you talk about that game last night, it seemed like there was something different about this team. Even before the power play, before the 3 goals, I mean, you could see it from the first shift, the first minute. Did you sense that? Can the players sense that when you're in the middle of the game?
I think, you can sense in the middle of the game, but for me, considering the opportunity we had at Game 4 to do it on home ice, in Game 5 we let it slip by, you can sense it in the morning skate. I mean, there was just a quiet confidence about the group, and before Game 4, just the amount of pressure and the excitement around it, the guys were feeling the pressure. Coming into Game 6, I didn't really have a lot of worries prior to the game. Like, guys were just focused in.
Right. Does that mean something to? I mentioned Brian Leach, and I know Jonathan Quick said something about it when he got the Conn Smythe last night. You played on the Olympic team. You nearly won the gold medal. I mean, you took it to overtime. Is that something that's important to you, the idea that maybe hockey is a growth sport here in America, and to have an American captain, etch that name there?
Yeah, I think, you look at, especially Southern California when Gretzky came. I know he's not American, but he changed the game of hockey in Southern California region. And
you made that point out on TV.
Yeah, I
mean, did a great job with that.
A big deal. I mean, we got 2 hockey teams in Southern California now. I mean, and you got kids coming from right around this area, starting to come into the NHL right now, getting drafted and that sort of thing. And I think American hockey as a whole is starting to grow pretty steadily just from the output of players we've had. I mean, you look at our Olympic team, and we fell a little short. But then you look at the NHL, and you got superstars they're starting to become American. I mean, guys like Roenick and Leach and Modano and Hall kind of paved the way, but there was only a handful of guys now. Now you're seeing boatloads of Americans have an impact on the game.
Well, either way, I mean, you or Parise, it would have worked out where an American would have got his name on the cup. How important was having someone like Mike Richards around? We heard his name a lot. They say, don't bother looking at the stat lines. I mean, Richards has been of the utmost importance to this team, I guess, galvanizing and creating the need to win the cup and the attitude to win the cup.
Yeah, I mean, with Mike, I mean, he's been a superstar in this league for some time now. And you can't really, he probably had a statistically off year, but you can't look at it from a point. He does bring so many other things to the table, and the one thing I always said, you got to be strong up the middle, and with bringing in Mike, what it did for us was it kind of filled in the 1-2 spot with Kopi up front and him in the 2 spot, but it also really helped Stoli out. Stoli's a third-line center. He was playing second-line center, and I think he's a better fit at the third line, and it just kind of let everyone fall into the right holes.
Now, I shouldn't be so close to the cup. It should be over there by you.
Oh, I got a great angle.
Yeah,
on it.
it's a beautiful thing, and it's crazy. It was what a great ceremony, and then I didn't like it. They pulled you right after the first period. You had to make that interview. You're breathing like a panther, and it's like, how is he supposed to do an interview? The guy can't breathe. How could you breathe through that interview? You tried to give the guy a pretty good answer, but man, that must have been hard.
Well, it's one of those things. They want the in-game action. They're doing interviews on the bench with the coaches, and
yeah, but you got to have somebody who's got their breath, who didn't just get off the ice.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty intense first period, and you get going like that, it's hard to settle down there.
I can imagine. And then the post game, obviously, I'm sure you've heard a little something about that.
A little loose there.
Well, when my wife heard it. And because we were watching, it's such a great ceremony and so moving. We're both from LA, born and raised. And she said, "Is he going to get in trouble for that?" And I said, I don't think so. I think people are going to be okay with that.
I haven't heard anything yet.
There you go. See, he's good.
Again, they grabbed me right before they're going to hand this thing over to me, and it's a pretty emotional time for everyone on the ice. I thought you made a great point. And it's like I said, it's something special. So. I have no regrets, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Dustin Brown, Kings captain, is in studio with us, and
everybody else that works in the building.
Lord Stanley's cup. Dustin, one of the great things that people, and I think the casual fans recognize because they don't see anything like it, is the post-game handshake. And you look at how chippy that game got. I mean, the series was pretty chippy, a very physical game anyway. And in Phoenix, of course, going back to the conference finals, and the way that post-game or post-series handshake ended. What about how you can put aside, you and Sikora have a little back and forth in that game. Of course, Carter on top of Quick and everything. What is it like walking through that post-series handshake after all that you've put out physically on the ice? You're so spent and that's the official close of a series.
Yeah, I mean, I've been on both sides of it, and definitely the losing side is tougher to do, but I think it's just kind of one of those things where you grow up playing and you understand. No one really has to say anything to you. You don't have to be taught what it means. It's like an unwritten rule amongst hockey players that you either beat me or I beat you, and you know what, good job.